Welcome back to Skyhold. A huge exclaimer for this episode. I will spend the entire time searching my fortress, looking in every nook and cranny, and talking to everyone and see if they have new conversation. So, if you're not into that, you might want to skip this episode, or jump to the interesting parts. But if you are interested in that like me, this should be wonderful. But we should be smart about it. To begin with, we will go to the war room and send our guys on missions. Since this will probably take about, I don't know, an hour maybe. Depending on how much new conversation everyone has. You have to play effectively, you know. This is how you win wars. Oh, and I got a new perk. I forgot about that. I kinda want that, deft hands. 4 points needed in category. That's a little bit annoying. Smuggler. Trainee herbalist. Gain a collection of tier 1 herbs. To find a different experience. But loving persistent herbalist to find rarest of specimens. Bolster the number of researchers working to study. Grants an additional 50% XP for each bow studied. More cutting. Extra herbs. Let's go with enhanced studies. I want that advanced as soon as possible. Let's grab the completed ones. We have sent our soldiers to the most troubled areas. We've received numerous letters of gratitude from people in Ferelland and Orlais. We are proving that trust in the Inquisition will be rewarded. Cool. Oh, it's still working. Huh. 1 hour to go. I have a lot of new areas, I think. A spice report. Post set up along the Imperial Highway, ostensibly to guard trade routes and facilitate procuring supplies for the Inquisition. Eyes on all approaches. Fourth night, a caravan carrying refugees makes camp nearby for protection. After midnight, a young woman on crutches makes a small talk with the patrol guard. After he passes, she crouches and makes a mark on the tent post. The woman pretends for half an hour to know nothing. When it becomes clear the ruse will not work, she kisses an Anestrian locket and says, "Glory to those across the seas." She dies. The locket was poisoned. Interesting. Those across the seas. Does that mean... that might mean that the Qunari are starting to involve themselves. Investigate, hunt the foe. That's only 10 minutes. I want a long one. Here we go. 3 hours, that's a long one for sure. Inquisition agents have uncovered a potential problem in the nation of Navarra. A twin mage by the name of Verulus has recently been noted in the company of King Marcus, and rumors comment on how strange it is for a new advisor to be so closely heated. There is evidence to indicate Verulus is a member of the Venatori. Having the Navarran king under their sway would give the cult a great deal of power and hinder the Inquisition's ability to operate in the north. You should tell King Marcus. Send an agent to eliminate the advisor, as well as his supporters, by all means necessary. Wait for this advisor to leave capital. No!
Inquisitor.
The silk gloves are off. We need to deal with this problem seriously. Protect the Inquisition's reputation. Well, that's a short one. Do that later. Acquire the Archivist. Shadows of a den room. Conscript for the Inquisition. Well, that settles it. We face Darkspawn Magister who commands something that looks suspiciously like an archdemon. I defy anyone to tell me that this is no blight. We have Blackwall's treatise and we have cause. That will require a little persuasion. More gold. Yeah, I kind of want Josephine on that thing. Well, that's stupid. All the resource missions are kind of stupid. Just fill that thing. Secure a route through the frost. Also, a really short one. Can't forget the big one for Cullen. Is it really that useless? A memorial for Haven. Here we go, maybe. Ambassador Montelier. Although we have not always seen eye to eye, I believe that on this subject we will be in perfect agreement. I would like to build a monument at the site where Haven stood, as a memorial to all those who gave their lives defending the faith. Shall we work together to honor those fallen heroes, Madame and Ambassador? I can do some fundraising, some reputation. I'm sure I can get some volunteers from our ranks. Yeah, you can go and do that mission, Colin. It feels like Liliana and what's her face? I can't remember her name. Josephine can handle like 90% of the operations better than Colin. But with that out of the way, let's talk to everyone.
I've made some inquiries into the Imperial Court. The sooner we deal with the threats to the Empress, the better. The political situation in the Empire is dangerously unstable. It will complicate matters.
Everything in the Empire complicates matters. It's the Orlesian national pastime.
Turn your nose up at the grand game if you like, Commander, but we play for the highest stakes, and to the death.
The Court's disapproval can be as great a threat as the Venatori. We must be vigilant to avert disaster.
Yeah, we'll save the Empress.
Don't worry, Josephine. We'll protect the Empress no matter what.
I pray you're right. If your vision of the future comes to pass. The death of the Empress heralds the destruction of everything. Orlais holds Tevinter at bay. All of Thedas could be lost if the Empire falls to Corypheus. Celine is holding peace talks under the auspices of a grand masquerade. Every power in Orlais will be there. It's the perfect place for an assassin to hide.
On the Empress? I don't have a thing to wear. That's where we need to be.
We need to attend this ball.
I'll arrange for an invitation at your discretion, Inquisitor.
Thank you. Do you have anything of interest?
Inquisitor,
say?
I was just inspecting our new headquarters. Foundation cracks, nesting animals, and miles from any centers of civilization. The staff must make it presentable if we're to receive any visitors of distinction.
Yes, let's keep up appearances.
It certainly wouldn't do for the Inquisition to appear overly shabby.
We've only just now convinced everyone we are precisely what Thedas requires. The mages will be gauging the Inquisition's fortitude. They should feel safe here.
Our own safety comes first.
I'm more concerned about reinforcing Skyhold in case Corypheus attacks again.
I've had difficulty forgetting his assault on Haven. Do you know who first leapt to arms? Our workers. They were so proud of our cause. Corypheus simply cut them down. So much screaming after that first blast of fire. So many people turn to ash.
Don't let it haunt me. Which would save more lives. We'll have revenge.
Corypheus will pay when I face him again.
I dearly hope that happens soon. Well, before I return to my duties, allow me to congratulate you on your appointment as Inquisitor, my lady. I will now bring diplomatic issues to your attention, and I'm more than happy to help with any situation that arise.
No need to be all business.
You don't have to be so formal just because I'm Inquisitor now, Josephine.
Our allies and guests should see you treated with every courtesy, Inquisitor, especially considering the newness of your office. Fortunately, after your courage at Haven, it's no difficult task to do so.
Right. Oh.
Inquisitor, is it true? Is the mark on your hand magic cast by Corypheus?
Corypheus claimed it's a spell gone wrong.
I wanted to think it was a blessing. A sign the Maker was returning to his creation. How credulous of me.
I believe make isn't of this world. The anchor is magic, not holy.
The anchor's nothing more special than a misfired spell.
At least you had the good fortune to take it from Corypheus. Does it hurt? The anchor, that is.
I have no idea. I'll cope, I guess.
Only when I laugh.
Very good, Inquisitor.
Nice, nice. And
The
nothing else.
situation requires your attention, Inquisitor. Noble Chantry loyalists in the city of Jadar are spreading accusations that you're responsible for the Divine's death. They're unusually organized. I recommend we send people to Jadar to deal with the matter.
Investigate. Can they be reasoned by...
Will anyone even believe me if I claim I didn't kill the Divine?
Perhaps if they learn about your heroics, we should emphasize how you stopped the breach devouring the sky. Even in Jadar, it may win you a few admirers.
Why are the neighbors interested?
What does the nobility gain by saying I murdered Justinia?
A scapegoat to begin with, but I wonder if the Grand Clerics are at work. Those immediately eligible to be divine died at the Conclave. The ones remaining were not as favored. They may look upon you as a rival for influence.
Dish of force. Need some propaganda. Let's try some diplomats, I guess.
Let's send some ambassadors to convince Jada I'm not a monster in disguise.
Excellent. I believe there's much to be gained by winning them over.
Might as well try doing it the
What
diplomatic
may I
way.
do for you?
Anything to report?
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
How are our guests?
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
You may see the Countess Lutetia in the halls. A lovely woman, but her conversations tend towards the unusual. She's the patron of Orlay's greatest naturalists. The Countess's particular passion is collecting butterflies.
That doesn't sound unusual.
She goes into great detail about preserving them. It seems to involve large amounts of chemicals and pins.
Right, that was weird. Anyway, let's move on. Guess I'll go in here. The Undercroft.
Now, what did they make down here, and what can I make?
Oh, it's our blacksmith. Hello.
I've walked away from too many burning buildings for one lifetime. This place, though, it'll be alright. It's Inquisitor now, isn't it? That'll take some getting used to.
For you and me both.
You think it's strange to say. It's stranger to hear.
Don't let it go to your head. We need you level. Everyone just got a big, hard reason to hate Corypheus. And we already did, but we didn't have a name. You're the surprise, not him.
Bring anything from Haven?
We left in a hurry, but you got into your old place. Save anything?
Family hammer. It's as stupid as it sounds. It's good to be back at work.
How are the new facilities?
How is this place shaping up as a forge?
Better than Haven ever could be. Not the way I wanted an upgrade, but ever forward.
Everything is functional.
You've got it all up and running.
Your basics, like always. There's space here for, I don't know what. This place was built for something big. It'll be a job to fill it.
Any thoughts for the loss?
Have you any thoughts about the people we lost at Haven?
Shame about Adan. Experience like that, you can't just find. The
Oh,
rest of us
that's the
go on.
herbalist, isn't it?
It's what we have to do. You gave us the
That's a
chance.
shame.
Thanks for that.
I'll be
Well,
back
goodbye.
later.
I'll be here.
Anything else of interest on here? Craft weapons. Skyhold customization. Oh, can we actually customize the fort? That would be amazing. Oh, we can choose our banner. Country, Dalish, Dwarven. I wonder if it has any impact on whom we choose, or if it's just cosmetics. 3 marches. Circle of Magi, Olay, Templar, Inter, Grey Warden. I don't know. Danish looks nice. Let's try it and see if we make any enemies by showing a Danish flag. No bed. No drapery. Oh shit. Heraldry. Dalish. The Tevinter one is really nice, but I don't want to support the Tevinter in any way, shape or form. Let's go with Frelin. It looks kind of cool. Decor. Nothing. Terrain. Oh. That thing looks silly. Hope we get another terrain soon. In days. Relevant Inquisition. Let's go with Inquisition. Just because we can, right? Got a quest as well. Huh, schematics. That's nice, I guess. But let's move on. Can you go in here? Nope. Not there. That's to the War Council. I see a lot of people in here, so let's go here first. Solace.
What was this place? So much room.
What can I do for you?
Tell me about Corypheus.
I need to know more about Morpheus.
We spoke of this on our travels to Skyhold. What more can I tell you? Cassandra and Varric seem more familiar with their adversary.
I guess I respect you.
You've given me good counsel before. I could use some now.
My apologies, Inquisitor. My poor manners shame me. I claim no secret wisdom, but I will guess as best I can.
Tell me about his
I
orb.
would like to know more about the orb he carries.
As I said, that must be the means by which he created the breach. I suspect the blast that destroyed the Conclave was more accident than anything. The result of unlocking power that had sought release for ages. What I cannot understand is how he managed to survive such an explosion.
The orb is elven.
You said that you believed the orb is elven.
I never would have believed a Tevinter mage could unlock such a powerful relic. It clearly enhances his abilities, giving him access to power he should never have known.
Like the power to control the archdemon.
Indirectly, one assumes. Nothing in any law connects my people to the old god dragons who became archdemons.
What will it do next?
What do you think Corypheus will do next?
You shamed him when you destroyed Haven. Spoiled his glorious victory. It would be worse to acknowledge that you had done so. He must continue on his course or show weakness. He will return to his plans to throw Ole into chaos, and then conquer it for Devinter.
You're certain?
You're sure that's what he'll do?
As certain as is possible. Assuming I can plausibly predict a man who seeks to rise to godhood.
And can you?
The key is understanding this. No real god need prove himself. Anyone who tries is mad or lying. His deception will undo him, as it has done countless fools before.
What is his power base?
What can you tell me about the source of Corypheus's power?
According to the law, the ancient Magistars of Devinter received guidance from the old gods. Corypheus commands a false archdemon, a corrupted old god. This suggests he no longer sees himself as their minion. Some of his unique power comes from the corruption of the Blight. The rest may come from the orb he carries.
Right.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So it doesn't seem to be much new conversation. But we'll check everything else regardless. Oh, Dorian.
Brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like Anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you?
Not at all.
You don't need to worry about me. I can keep up.
Yes, I noticed that.
Did you know?
Certainly. If you were a slack-jawed yokel, you'd already be dead. I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters. A dark spawn.
They say the Chandra's lying.
Who does the Imperium say started the Blight?
You know how it is. Not us. They say Darkspawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there?
I don't know. You seem upset.
Why does that make you angry?
Because the Imperium is my home. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it, somewhere. But no, it was us all along. We destroyed the world.
Whoa. It's not destroyed yet, man.
Last I checked, the Blights hadn't actually destroyed the world.
Not for lack of trying. If they were more clever, they'd have unleashed something that would really do the job. No one will thank me whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes?
Yeah. I don't need their thanks.
That's not why I'm doing this.
I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way.
Why, thank you. Dorian, I still haven't talked to you, have I?
Inquisitor?
Related?
Oh, not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in the dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. Perhaps he was even the one who ventured to Ostwick to establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course.
We still blur. How do you even know that?
You know that off the top of your head?
Not the top. Maybe the lower middle or thereabouts. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes, there it is. I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
Nice to know, I guess.
Learn something new every day.
Nice, isn't it? Like being at a quality library, provided you're not the one stocking the shelves.
Right. Tell me about yourself, Dorian.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
If you say so.
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. See? That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Careful breeding.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
I guess. Your family is angry with you.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
You don't like Tevinter?
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
But why do you care?
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why not go back?
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree. But that's why we kill them.
Right.
I
That's
think
enough
I've
for
heard
now.
enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Tell me about the Imperium.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
Corypheus was a magister.
Corypheus is a figure out of Tevinter history. He was a magister.
Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended, the Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City, it was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become.
But who were they?
No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed.
That's really interesting. But it is not a story.
We have evidence the story is very much real.
But not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those Magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more.
Is blood magic common?
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What do you call it?
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
No Templar intervention?
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
No one disagrees.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of childhood.
What about slavery?
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You're saying they like it?
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
At least they do have a choice.
At least they're free. They don't have slavery forced on them.
You think people choose to be poor and oppressed? I doubt it. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
That's not really the problem. Of course some slaves will have it good, but the problem is the other. That some have it really terrible. That is the core of the problem. The match is truly rude there.
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
A magisterium?
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among circles of magi, the chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
What are you then?
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
And an altus is?
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Indeed. What about the Archon?
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
But mages do rule.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Is that true?
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Is that bad?
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
I want to ask something
Let
else.
me ask you something else.
Oh, that was all, wasn't it?
Of course.
Nope. The Imperium has a chantry.
There's an Imperial chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the chantry, or a version of it. Night and day, comparing it to yours.
Interesting. So it's kind of a take on our Christianity with the Western and Eastern Pope, I guess. Is it really that different?
Is the Imperial chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
You have circles.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
The Black Divine.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The the woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
A disagreement.
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
And here we have the difference between Christianity and Judaism. It's really fun how they take influences from our religions and put them into this faith of Andraste. Your divine is male.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Indeed. Are you religious?
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Well, others might object, yes.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you'll recall. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
No.
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
I'm surprised to think that. No, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't
I'm
know.
not sure about that myself.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
I want to ask something else.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
Indeed. Could win to be an ally.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
Is that smart of them?
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what? 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
Right. But we're not.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Yeah, I really don't like the title either.
That's all I wanted to know.
It kind of binds me to the Chantry.
I should go.
Naturally.
Well, thank you for all that information. It was illuminating.